what the heck happened in the final seconds of that Tuesday night loss to the Orlando Magic, where it was 6 seconds left. They do this like kind of football play to run down the floor, which we've seen from Rick Carlisle and the Pacers, and it's worked. But then Luka Dončić just kind of had this brain fart and had a wide open shot that he has taken 1,000 times. And he decides to dribble in awkwardly, get this like a lot of contest, let Paolo Banchero get in front of him. And then he just hands this flaming grenade over to LeBron, who does this fadeaway, just chucks a shot just in the vicinity of the basket. Of course, LeBron is going to get the 0 for 1 on that in his clutch resume. And Luka Dončić just, I don't know what he's short circuited on that play. I don't know what was going on. Dan, what was your first reaction to this kind of just a weird finish to this game?
Yeah, honestly, the first thing it made me think of was like, 3 years ago after Kyrie Irving got traded to Dallas, and when Luka and Kyrie were in kind of like late game crunch time together, and they were playing hot potato. Like it was almost like they were being too kind to one another. Nobody wanted to step on the other guy's foot, and then they just like passed the ball up around, and they lost to the Timberwolves because no one got a shot up at the end of the game. Except that was like, I think the game that I'm thinking of, that Timberwolves game, was like the first or second time that Luka and Kyrie had played together, and right, LeBron and Luka have been teammates for a full year now and have played like 60 games and 1,500 minutes together or something like that, and it still sometimes looks awkward. But that's kind of it, right? That like the idea of what the Lakers would be when you paired Luka Dončić with LeBron James, and then to another extent, Austin Reaves, it's been, the theory has yet to really bear out in practice, right? Like it just hasn't been as good as you wanted it to be. In those 1,489 minutes, with LeBron and Luka on the floor together, LA's minus 86. Their offense has been like good, but not elite, more like 7th or 8th kind of in offensive efficiency in those minutes.
Is that since last year, you're saying?
That's going back to last year, and that's including playoffs. Yeah. That's including like, so this is from pbpstats.com. All competition, but from when Luka got there in February of 2025 to now, 1,489 minutes minus 86. And the defense has been bad, and the offense has been like good, but not great. And that's like kind of what it's, I mean, the record has been better than the underlying indicators. And that was true last season, and it's true now. It's been true all this season. The clutch, but the funny thing is, like, the clutch time performance earlier in the season was what was really buoying the Lakers in their case. And now, like, in clutch time, they couldn't get the shot off. I think the thing to me, and like, I'm interested in what you think about this. When Luka was asked about what he saw in that last possession, kind of what went on, here was his quote. "I know I was open, but I just thought I was a little bit far. Tried to take one dribble closer. Probably shouldn't have picked up the ball. I should have attacked. That's on me." And when he said, "I just thought I was a little bit far," that kind of set off a bell in my head. Are we worried at all about Luka Dončić's legs?
I know.
Yes, that is a far shot, right? That's a long way off where he pulled up from. That's, maybe 28, 29, 30 feet out. But we've also seen Luka pull up from that far and a lot farther without much compunction at a lot of points in his career. But then you kind of look at you get under the hood. Luka's drives per game have been down every year since 2021, declining year over year over year. This year, 14.1 drives per game, career low. Share of Luka Dončić's shots at the rim, 14% this year, career low. He has taken more shots from 28 plus feet out this season than anybody but LaMelo Ball, Stephen Curry, and Tyrese Maxey, and he's shooting 26.9% on those super deep threes. Luka's numbers are nuts. His individual production is great. The impact numbers consistently have him, top 5 or so, top 3, top 5 in the NBA. I think there's something to be keeping an eye on there. Like, Luka, the version of Luka Dončić with which we are familiar has like boundless confidence in his ability to get that shot off and take it and get it where it needs to go. And then there, with the game on the line, the chance to win it, he says, "I thought I was a little far." It just feels notable to me.
Yep. Also notable. Skinny Luka, you know how many dunks he's had this season?
No. How many?
Zero. Has not. dunked yet this season.
Does feel like we're a long way from the Men's Health cover, right?
Yeah, it does feel like that. like kind of feel like that is 6 years ago. The whole he's in the best shape of his career. Look at all the weight he's lost. He's going to move around like a rookie Luka Dončić, who had 14 dunks as a rookie, as a 19-year-old in the NBA, and that went from 14 to 9 to 5. Now we had one in the Laker uniform last season and 0 in a Laker uniform this year. So there's that. The other side of that you mentioned is that he takes deep threes all the time, right? So the idea that in this moment he decided to shy away and he didn't have the legs underneath him, that is too far. I will remind people that he has 3 buzzer beaters in his NBA career. The distance on those buzzer beaters, according to basketballreference.com, 25 feet, 26 feet, and 27 feet away. Okay. So he's had this shot in his bag throughout the 48 minutes of the game until this year. He seems to be, I don't want to take that shot. And if you look at the usage rate in clutch situations this year, guess on the Lakers who has the number 1 usage rate in clutch situations, game within 5, final 5 minutes. It's LeBron, not Luka Dončić, right? It is a weird thing, right? The fact that he turned down this shot, something that we've always grilled LeBron for, is turning down this shot. But this wasn't like he was making the smart play. It was he was not increasing the odds and moving the needle towards a higher percentage shot in this instance. This is not the classic LeBron James kicking out to the corner for whether it's Chris Bosh or Rashard Lewis, Shane Battier, Ray Allen in the corner. This is a grenade. This was a flaming bag of, what was it? It was Billy Madison, the flaming bag of dog poop on the front step. That's what LeBron was getting here from Luka Dončić. So you can't argue that he was making the smart play like LeBron always did down the stretch. All right, so I dug this up, and I wanted to bring this up here. According to stathead.com, the last 2 seasons, Dan, okay, over the last 2 seasons, there have been 207 players who have made a shot in the final minute, shot to tie or go ahead. So in that instance, 6 seconds left, down 1, Luka Dončić had the shot to win the game, to go ahead, or to at least tie, right? There's been so many instances that we've seen the Lakers or the Mavs or whomever in the last 2 years. Jalen Brunson has 12 makes in this instance. Again, final minute of the game, fourth quarter overtime, shot to take or tie or lead. He has 12 makes over the last 2 seasons. Tyrese Maxey has 12. Jalen Brunson has 12. Tyrese Halliburton is 10 for 12 in this situation. I'm just naming these guys. I remember
us talking about that. Yeah.
It's just these guys have been awesome in these situations. So of the 207 over the last 2 seasons that have made this shot, where do you think Luka Dončić ranks in that group of 207?
In total makes? Let's say like 15th.
Okay. What if I told you, Dan, that he does not have a single make? He is not among those 207.
Wow. That would surprise me a great deal.
Yeah, he's 0 for 5 in that situation. And last on Tuesday night, where he's turning down the shot to hand the grenade off to LeBron, that's been indicative of Luka over the last 2 years. Just hasn't been willing to take that shot. And he hasn't made a single shot. And he's not one of 207 players to hit one of those shots down in those late situations, down to to tie or to take the lead. He hasn't made a single one of those shots, and 207 other players have. He's 0 for 5 in those situations, and he hasn't taken a single shot this year in that situation. LeBron has 3 shots, Rui Hachimura has 2, and I believe it's Austin Reaves has 2 to his name, and Luka Dončić has 0 as a Laker this year in that situation that we saw on Tuesday night. So, Dan, you can't just chalk this up and say this was a one-off. Like he short-circuited. It seems like Luka in these moments over the last 2 years has either shied away from these moments or just has decided, I can get a better shot for someone else in these moments. And I will point out, LeBron did get a great inbounds pass there in the closing minute from Luka at the rim. And so there are moments where Luka is making the smart play to increase the chances that his team can get a great shot. This was not one of those instances. And the fact that Luka Dončić, widely considered one of the best players, if not the best player, has not made a shot in the final minute with a shot to tie or to take the lead is outrageous. I was shocked to learn this morning when I was digging up the numbers, how often this instance happens and how often Luka actually makes that shot. Those buzzer beaters that I mentioned hasn't happened in 5 years. Okay. Hasn't happened in 5 years. So Dan, with what you were mentioning about the weirdness of him saying it was too far away, I think it does raise the question if he's conditioned enough or he has his legs enough to take those shots with confidence. Because clearly, if 207 players have that shot in their bag over the last 2 years and you haven't, there's something to that.
Which is wild, because I think when we think of late game Luka, like the image in my brain is him saucing up Rudy Gobert to like end that playoff series, right? But that's a few years ago too, and that's a different situation. And so, yeah, it was also notable to me that when they were asked about it, both JJ Redick and LeBron James were like, we executed. I think LeBron he did the interview at his stall. It wasn't at the podium, but I think he said we executed like 5 times in about a minute and a half in the answering those questions. Like, you got to ask Luka what he saw on that. I thought he had a good look. Just looked like he kind of lost his balance, didn't have a rhythm with the ball, whatever the case may be. But like, I thought we had a good opportunity. He came off clean and I think he felt off balance. We executed. We didn't get the shot we wanted. Like, so there's in the last segment, we talked about disconnect, right? The idea, like there's a disconnect between what the stats say and what your eyes tell you. Something feels a little disconnected in LA, and like zoom out, just like take a look at the state of affairs there. They are now in 6th place in the Western Conference, 34-23. They're 2 games up on Phoenix for 2 games ahead of the play-in tournament right now. They're probably fine in that because, as we mentioned earlier, Phoenix dealing with the injury to Devin Booker. Dillon Brooks broke his hand. The offense has basically died in Phoenix without those guys being available. So like their likelihood of staying in 6th and avoiding the play-in is pretty good. We mentioned some of those prediction models earlier. Impredictable has them about 85% at finishing top 6. ESPN has them at 70%. Dunks and threes about 64%. Basketball Reference 55, so closer to a coin flip that they're going to stay up above the play-in. But like, that's fine. Staying out of the play-in is fine. I don't think that's the goal anybody had for the Lakers coming into this sort of situation. And we are talking about a team that, again, they're 11 games above 500. They have a negative point differential for the season. The Lakers are minus 21 on the season. And they're down to 11th in offensive efficiency outside of garbage time. Like, the things that were supposed to carry this team are not carrying this team. And I like this as just like a snapshot of where we are, right? So we love going to pbpstats.com. Our buddies over there, they have that, as you mentioned earlier, the with or without you lineup data. You can see how a team fares with different sort of configurations of players on the floor. You look at every version of Luka, LeBron, Austin Reaves. Only 2 of them, and again, this is going back to last season, so back to when Luka got traded, the trade that landed him in LA. Only 2 configurations have consistently performed well. There's Luka and Austin Reaves without LeBron. That's plus 12.6 per 100 possessions. And there's LeBron without Luka and Austin Reaves. That's plus 7.2 points per 100 possessions. And that kind of feels like it, right? There's 2 teams. There's the team that was there before Luka got there, and there's the team that's not going to have LeBron on it. And they're just kind of stuck between those 2 teams right now, it feels like. And that's been true narratively. It was true with the Rich Paul stuff this summer. It's true with what they did or did not do at the trade deadline. It's true with the uncertainty about where LeBron goes after this season. All of it feels like you're sort of stuck between stations here. And sometimes when you get stuck between stations, you got somebody that's scratching the record, pulling the shot down, and then passing it off to somebody else, and no one's exactly sure what to do. So we executed. We didn't get the look we wanted. Many such cases in LA.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, right, again, this episode is, talking about conflicting narratives, conflicting information that you think it's one way, but it's actually another, and if you just step back and you look at the clutch numbers for the Lakers, they're 16-4 in clutch games. So they are by record the best clutch team in the NBA, but a lot of those is when they're leading in the clutch, like when they're +4,
Right.
+5 in the final 5 minutes, and then they make a run at the end of the game, and it's a W for those clutch situations. When they're down in those situations, a lot of times um, they they just aren't as good, but they haven't had a lot of those. If you're following the Lakers this year, they're kind of this weird team that they're always like getting blown out or they're blowing out the opponent. And in the times that it has been close, it hasn't really lucked out in the way that we did on Tuesday. On Tuesday, it didn't work out in their favor, but so far this season, they're 9-3 in games in which it's a one possession game in the final minute, and they're 16-4 in the final 5 minutes, game within five. And so maybe we're just making a mountain out of a molehill here on this one possession.
Sure.
But again, this has happened time and time again in these clutch, super ultra clutch moments where Luka is either passing it off or he's just not taking the shot. And he hasn't made one. He's 0 for 5. And it's just uncharacteristic. We watched him early in his career just killing people, being an assassin in these late game-winning scenarios, and it's been a long time since he's done it, and I don't know what that's about, but hey, that's why we're going to continue monitoring this and keeping an eye on it and parsing these quotes from LeBron where he's like, I'm pretty sure we got a good look there. And the whole weird Austin Reaves, LeBron, and Luka, it's just not a winning formula. I think it is very much ominous. I think it's ominous that they do not mix well together. They are oil and vinegar out there together. And the fact, I think it was Tim McMahon on ESPN this morning was like, they're -82 on the floor together, Luka and LeBron, which is the worst plus minus for any duo on the Lakers. So not great.
I mean,
Not great. And it goes into what you were saying earlier. It's just like there's two teams. It's Luka and Austin Reaves, and then there's LeBron when he's the unquestioned alpha out there. Those are the two really good Lakers units. But putting them together, not great. So another tough one for the Lakers on Tuesday night, and I think we're seeing that Luka Dončić is fading from the MVP conversation, and that moment I think is going to stick in our brains as we move down to the end of the season.